Okay, here's the plan for tonight. So if you didn't see my last video, go back and look at it, because I might have described some stuff in that I'm not going to talk about tonight. But as you know, in the last video I did the rear quarter panels. Once again, here is the old template that I used and cut it out of wood. So that was easy, it worked out great. One of the things that I left out in the last video, I've used several spray-on adhesives, and I'm not here to promote anything. I'm just telling you what works. And you can buy the cheap stuff from the fabric store. Please don't. If you're going to do this yourself, make sure you get 3M or another name brand, heavy duty. This is multi-purpose. It's the 3M 77 spray adhesive. It worked great. Spray it on, cover evenly, be liberal with it, and let it set up for, I don't know, 2 to 3 minutes, and then also coat your other surface, whether it be coat the wood first, then coat the back of the vinyl. Let it set up, and you're going to feel it get tacky. The one thing about this, it's messy. I don't care how neat you are. You're going to have a rag wet with mineral spirits, because you're going to have to clean your fingers from time to time. So have it, right there in reach. Get it off your fingers while it's still tacky. That way you're not smearing it on your vinyl and so forth. Don't wear gloves. It doesn't help. So that's the best advice that I can give you, is use quality stuff. So here's my idea, and I'm brave enough to say, before I even do it, I'm going to post this, and I might have to come back and retract and say it didn't work. But my idea is, once I use this old piece as the template, I'm still going to try to keep the door pocket if I can, which I don't think will be that hard. The other thing I ordered, these are just, sport looking door grabs. They're okay, but I ordered black thick ones off from I think it was a 65 Chevy. They have it has the nice chrome inlay, more of a place to rest your arm. So I'm going to build a back brace for it to bolt it in. They're not in yet, or I'd show you. But what I am going to do is, instead of the solid gray piece that I did on the back panels, I'm going to try to incorporate a nice little swoop down and use a router to embed it just a little bit, not very thick because the wood's not very thick, so just slightly to recess it. And then you get your chrome from AutoZone or Advanced Auto Parts, the chrome self-stick adhesive that you use on bumpers and so forth, the door edges. And then I'm going to have that, but then I'm also going to have a second color, and I'm not giving away the secret yet of what the color is. So it'll be gray, chrome strip. The swoop on the inside will be a different material, and it's going to be pretty snazzy. I hope I didn't go too extreme or flamboyant on it. So that's where we're at. I'm going to start disassembling this, and I'll try to update you a little better. A lot of people have been asking questions. Will the original clips work with the wood? They will, as long as you get them in the right spot, and also the right diameter hole. You make sure you get that right. And the wood's a little thicker, so you have to pry them open just a little bit, but they will snap into place, and it will not flex as much as this. So disassembly's getting started. Stay tuned. Alright, here's a couple more things I thought about to give you some advice. When you're drilling the holes, put a piece of wood, I don't care what you're drilling it on, put a piece of wood down underneath this piece here, scrap. So as you're drilling, you have something to drill all the way through, so that the back end is perfectly diameter to get the clips in. Plus the other thing, run your drill speed, I'll show you one, center it up and run your drill speed kind of slow and hold down on it. Drill all the way through, because if you run your drill speed fast and you don't hold up or hold down on this, it'll lift up and it'll snag and rip up part of your wood if you're using the same wood I'm using, which will cause problems. Now I know you can probably see over here there's, you know, this, but that's okay. I'm gonna go through with a round file and file all these down. It only takes 10 minutes. So just a little update as the progress goes along. Okay, got a little further here. As you can see, I completely cut out all the door handle, the window crank, the pocket for the door storage. I've drilled all the holes for the clips to attach to the doors. But I wanted to update you on something else. As you spray your adhesive, I don't care if you worry about your workbench or not, it will get so tacky that when you go to flip over on your vinyl to wrap it, it'll stick, it'll cause a mess, and you'll have to use something to clean it off, and you may destroy the vinyl. So if you have newspaper, anything you want to lay down, I'm using a roll of painter's paper, whatever you call it, a roll. I mean, it's not very expensive, but I'm getting ready to paint the car, so I have this. But you can use anything, just lay it down, and that way when you spray, the overspray goes on this, pull it out, and put a new sheet down when you're ready to start your vinyl. So the next thing I'm going to do is, I don't put vinyl just straight over wood. It's something I didn't put on the last video. You want a little cushion to it, not very thick. That stuff will cause you all kinds of problems. I got some batting from Jo-Ann Fabrics that is made for this, and once I spray my adhesive on and spray it on the batting, it will give just that little bit of cushion, and that way it doesn't, the sharp corners don't protrude to the vinyl, because that vinyl is very thin. The other thing is, I don't know if you can see from the video, but I marked drivers inside, drivers outside on the other side, because I didn't admit this the other day, but on my first video when I was doing the back panels, I actually made two right sides. I don't know if it was the beer or if I just wasn't thinking. Luckily, I was able to correct it very quickly, but so you don't have to go through that. Know what you're working on. So mark your other side when you do it. Passenger inside, passenger outside. So when you flip it over, you don't get confused. I know you think this will be enough, and it might be, but just to be safe, you're never going to see this. So if I can bring the video in closer, I take it out of the clip. There it is. It's probably backwards, but it says drivers inside. Okay, stay tuned. Okay, so I prepped my surface, made sure there was no dust, dirt. Not like a little dust is going to hurt, but anything big will get caught underneath here. So this is the batting. Let me pull it over here so you can see it's very thin, but like I said in the last video, you need to have it to hide any imperfections. But if you don't, once you spray your adhesive and you lay this down, if you get wrinkles in it, the wrinkles are going to show through on the vinyl, and there's nothing you can do about it. So make sure, as you can see, I have no wrinkles anywhere. It's all smooth, and I went ahead and sprayed the adhesive on all the edges as well, so it tacks to that. And as you can see, I left a lot of overlay to tuck under. Not a lot. The most you're going to need on this is maybe 2 inches, because it does spread, so maybe 1.5 inches. You don't want it too thick that it rolls all the way under, so just enough on the face. Don't worry about the backside. The backside does not need it. As a matter of fact, I think when I get done with this, as you know, the backside, if your scrapers are even 100% perfect, the rain and moisture will still get in. We need to keep this wood from getting wet and warping. And as you know from the factory, if you've ever taken apart a Volkswagen door, it has the plastic around with the butyl that holds it in place. What I'm going to do on this one when I get done is I'm going to treat the wood side, the opposite side that sticks out. I'm going to treat it with paint or something, maybe even bed liner for trucks you can buy. You can spray it real fast. That'll keep the water off of this and keep the wood from warping. So that's the next step. Stay tuned. Okay, so I got the batting glued to the front. I sprayed my edges and brought the overlap in. The batting that I used is different than I used on the back panels. The back panels, it was something I had laying around. It was more like a microfiber. It seemed to work pretty well. This is going to work, but it's a little hard to work with. This is the stuff that I bought. You can see how thin it is, and it does pull apart pretty easy. It's like it's cotton. You might want to find something more of a foam or a, what do they call it, a weaved type material that's thicker. This will work. I'm not, complaining. Oh, and by the way, I don't know if I mentioned in my last 4 videos, this is my first shot at this, so don't think I'm a professional. I'm just showing you can do it yourself. And like I said, it's a little tough to work with, but it's working out. So as you can see, all my edges are brought over, and I'm just letting this to set up, and I'll be putting the vinyl on next. Okay, next step. I've got the vinyl underneath, getting ready to glue it. I've got all the edges ready to tack up, just giving it a couple more minutes. I can't move my phone right now because I got it in the holster, but if you can see right here, I have every slit cut, because what you don't want is, as you try to fold this over to the glue, is a bunch of wrinkles on the outside. It's going to show. It's going to push out on the door panel and leave gaps. So, but what you don't want to do is you have to cut about a 1/4 inch away so that you don't cut too deep, that the cuts show through on this little edge right here. So I'm going to go ahead and take this one right here. I think it's tacky enough. Pull it up, hold it just a second, and then go to the next one. And as you can see, they may overlap over here. That's fine, especially on the corners. They will overlap. You want them to overlap for the radius. So have your razor blade handy. If you didn't cut it right, that even when the glue's tacky, you can cut just a slight little bit more. So here we go. As you can see, it's laying down fine. The glue is tacky. I have a solvent rag. Where'd it go? Okay, so I threw it away, but that's okay. Have one ready. As you can see, as I lay these over, they're sticking. It's good and tacky. So can't video anymore. Well, actually, let me just try this corner here so you can see. Lay that one over. Pull them tight as you go. Now you'll see guys staple these, which I do agree with. I don't have a shallow enough staple, and I will admit another mistake. When I first made the back panels, I was stapling them, turned it over, and they just protruded a little bit, and I didn't catch it till I was halfway done. So here we go. Here's a corner, and we're gonna take this one, and I didn't cut it enough, so let me get my razor blade. Actually, I'm going to get a new one because that one's kind of full of glue, and just cut a little bit off of this and of this. You don't want a lot of material overlapping because, like I said, it will push out. There we go. You can't get it perfect until you're laying it down. Cut the material away, but don't cut too much to where when you put this thing in the door, you're going to see the wood, if that makes any sense. Alright, so that one's cut. Tack it down. Pull the next one over top and lap it. There's my blue towels catching a hold. I didn't want to spray my bench with So I hope you can see that overlay right there. Keep going back over what you did and press, and then overlap this one, and just keep going all the way around. Okay, I'm gonna finish because my glue's hardening up. Okay, so now I used the old cover for the interior to lay out to cut my vinyl for the new one, because the other part was still tacky and I didn't want to get the vinyl tacky. But make sure that when whatever you use, that you leave plenty of over. So all I did was lay this out maybe about a half inch, an inch, well, it don't matter. Just don't leave yourself short. Do not cut right at the exact opening, because if you do, you cannot overlay, it'll pull away. So leave yourself at least an inch. You can always trim it later. You can't add material. So I did that with the door handle, the window crank, even the edges. As you can see, I have plenty of overlay to overlap. And the reason I laid it this way is to make sure that I am cutting the right side. So when you peel this away, this piece is going to the trash. There you go. So now the next thing to do is to pull this back. We have it where we want it. Spray just this half, because if you spray the whole thing, then you're going to have trouble lining it up again, and you might be off. And once this glue dries against this, it's really hard to move. So I'm going to lay it back down, and I'm actually going to use clips or tape or something to hold the half of it down. Do half of it, spray this with your adhesive, lay it down, get all smoothed out, give it, I don't know, half hour or so, if that long, to let it harden up and tack, and then you can pull it back and do this side. All right, so here we go for the next step.